the Tories have plunged to 20% of the voting intention, with Labour at 47%. The Conservative share of 20% is the lowest ever recorded by Ipsos, which has run since 1978. Previous Conservative low points were 22% under John Major in December of 94 and May of 1995, 23% in July of 1997, and shortly after Labour's landslide win, and 23% in December of 2022. But these figures probably shouldn't worry the Tories. After all, they've had a massive turnaround before, with John Major. However, 50% of those with voting intentions say they have definitely decided to vote for, but 45% may change their mind. So they might be thinking they've still got a chance. That is until what happened this month. And this is what really should be worrying them. 2 out of their 3 biggest supporters have had enough. We saw Nick "I'll tickle your tummy" Ferrari hang up on a government minister.
What he said was wrong. As a result of what he said, the whip was removed from him. That was robust action.
No,
that was
why
robust
was it
action
wrong?
that was
That's what
taken.
I'm trying to get at.
It was wrong, Nick, because of what he said, and robust action was taken as a result.
You're well educated. Let's try this a different way. Was it Islamophobic?
What he said was wrong, and robust action was taken, and the whip was removed within 24 hours.
Minister, was it Islamophobic?
Nick, it was wrong.
Minister, I'm going to, and I'm normally a very polite man, I'm actually going to effectively put the fact, I'll ask you now for the 3rd time, I've asked you 6 times why it was necessary. For the 3rd time, was it Islamophobic?
Nick, it was wrong.
I'll have to curtail the interview there. I'm grateful for your time, but enough already. Michael Tomlinson is the Minister of State for Illegal Migration, unable to answer a question.
We also saw Iain Dale call out their Islamophobia for what it is.
I try, as a 61-year-old white, middle-aged, does 61 count as middle-aged? I think it does.
Yes.
Male, to put myself in the position of an ordinary British Muslim who hears these comments. And if I was an ordinary British Muslim, I would consider them Islamophobic, without a shadow of a doubt. If it looks like a duck and quacks like a duck, it probably is a duck. But I don't know why we're all so surprised at this, because he's a serial offender. Yes. Remember, he told asylum seekers to F off back to France. Yes. He should have been sacked for that. Instead, Number 10 came out and supported him. So I don't know why everybody's so surprised. He was appointed to shake things up. He was appointed as the Prime Minister's bit of Northern Rough. And I'm afraid if you sleep with a dog, you tend to get fleas.
But to be fair, Iain has started to call out the Tories for them being useless anyway. So he was on a bit of a downward slope for them.
The 5 priorities: halving inflation, creating growth, reducing debt.
That's not going very well. Reducing debt, that's not going very well.
It's work in progress on inflation. Of course, we'd like inflation to be lower. We have done things over the winter, like we paid half of people's energy bills over the winter. That has been a big part of making cost of living easier for people. But of course, inflation remains a very high priority.
Well, let's go through those. What was the second one? Reducing debt, that's not going very well either, is it? That's the third one.
So increasing growth and reducing debt.
Well, increasing growth, that's not going very well. Reducing debt isn't going very well. What's the 4th one?
The 4th one is stopping the boats.
That's not going very well.
And the 5th one is reducing hospital waiting lists.
That's not going very well at all. So you're not making much progress on any of those, are you?
However, they can still rely on Laura Kuenssberg. Here she's going to blame all the country's financial problems on the pandemic and the war in Ukraine, completely ignoring the past 14 years of Tory rule.
Wednesday might not be a vintage day. Maybe there won't be much fairy dust because the country's balance sheet was battered by COVID and then the conflict in Ukraine. So it will not be a moment when the Chancellor will have many tasty morsels to tempt you with. The economy has been as stuck as the Tories are in the polls. Numbers 10 and 11 have a chance to try to budge both sets of numbers this week, but that is a tall order.
Well, 2 down, 1 to go. While she's away from the show, Victoria Derbyshire showed that she can hold the government to account far much better. And here you can see her doing exactly that.
That taxes are still too high, and they've risen over the last few years because our debt has risen. We've been very clear, we want to get inflation down, we want to get the debt down, and to do that, you have to make difficult decisions when it comes to tax. But now we're in a position where inflation's gone from 11 to 4%, so we are starting to turn a corner, which allows us to be able to start cutting taxes, and that's what we're doing today.
How are we turning a corner when we're in recession and the tax burden, despite what you've done today, is continuing to rise? The trajectory is up.
We absolutely accept that taxes are still too high and we want to keep going.
It's not just that they're still too high, is it, Mr Davis? They're set to rise into the next Parliament until 2028-29. So when Jeremy Hunt says keeping taxes down matters to Conservatives, it kind of sounds like you're gaslighting the British people.
Not at all. We are focusing our tax cuts on something that will help drive growth, and that's people in work. It sends a very clear message today, and as it did at the autumn statement, that of all the taxes we can cut, we've focused on the one tax which workers pay.
So you are giving back some employees a bit of their money, but overall the tax burden is going up, correct?
The tax burden is still too high overall, absolutely.
And it's going up.
Well, the OBR have been clear that the fiscal measures that that have taken place today and previously last year will reduce the tax burden by, I think, 0.6%.
No.
But
I'm sorry to stop you there. I'm so sorry. I've looked at the graphs before I came to interview you, and I've got the figures here. The tax burden today is 36.1% of GDP. It's going to go up to 37.1% by 2028-29. That's the highest since the Second World War.
Completely understand.
Do you accept it?
You're making. The overall tax burden is high, and it has been increasing. Completely accept that.
And will continue to into the next Parliament.
The measures that we have taken will make it less than it would be otherwise by 0.6%, as the OBR have said, and we have been very clear
Right,
today.
so it's not going down.
We've been very clear today that when we are able to do so, we will consistently cut taxes to get that down. And we've had to make some difficult decisions in this budget where some taxes are rising, right? And so we are very clear that when we can cut taxes, we will do so, and when we can cut those taxes, it will be on workers.
She does an absolutely cracking job. And to see her making a fool of Jacob Rees-Mogg, then click the video that's on screen now. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit that like button, and I'll see you next time.